Good evening and welcome. Okay, I do not know what that introduction was. Um, I realized I had switched scenes and we're here for AOR round 17 at Suzuka, waiting for the drivers to ready up, and we should be underway just momentarily here at the very no, what's the term? The very famous Suzuka circuit. Um, That being said, I would like to run you guys through the championship order. Sadly, though, don't have the last two race results from Singapore and Russia. The last results that we have were from Italy, which was actually the last and the first time I had commentated for the AOR F1 PL League. That race was won by Flex's Marcy, his first win of the season. He climbed up to 7th place in the championship. Back then, it was Kaboom leading by 50 points over Dave Gaming, Enigma in 3rd, Versi in 4th, Tinko, BDB 5th, Shanky in 6th, Flex's Marcy 7th, Mulch in 8th, and MDCO 9th, with Wessel rounding out the top 10. And as I say that, it looks like we are ready to get going. The session will begin, and I just caught a glimpse of some of the drivers that were taking part. I saw Flex's Marcy and Kaboom, and those two are definitely going to be two drivers to watch out for in tonight's race. Both of them very, very quick. In terms of qualifying, we're expecting to see something in the mid 39s, I believe, for that pole position. Mid to high 39s, I think, will be pole, and that will probably get picked up by Kaboom. I was commentating a race yesterday that had the likes of Formula Danny and others, and they were able to just about get into the 38. So I think if we give about half a second to a second, then you'd be able to get a good idea. Only 12 drivers. Hopefully, though, we might get a few more drivers sneaking into the lobby before the race does start, and that will give us a good opportunity get see a very entertaining race. So, who is going to be the first one out? Scrippy has put on a set of medium tires, so he should be making his way out just momentarily. We can't see any mechanics making their way out of the garages just yet, but I think the Renault's going to be one of the first, along with the Force India of, okay, Paddle of Oats. I'm just going to call him Padloff. Padloff? Padloftes. I don't know. But there we go. That's what happens when you put a square in your name. It means I have no idea what your name is. But he's just going to do his outlet, making his way through the center S's. Let me know who is your tip to winning tonight's race. If you're here to support a certain someone, again, put that down, and any questions that you might have as well, drop them through. You know, whether it's to do racing lines, anything at all, drop them down, and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. But in terms of who we can expect to be really challenging in this race, of course, Dave Gaming, he's second in the championship alongside Kaboom, who is leading the championship. And every time Kaboom races, he's been in the podium with the exception of 2 races of this season. Actually, three. He's had a DNF as well. So those two are going to be right up there. But don't forget Flex's Marcy. He is very, very quick. Although he's had a few off races, which I think Flex's Marcy is one of those drivers who's hit and miss. You know, one day he'll have a really good race, another day he'll have a good race, but he'll make a mistake, crash, etc., etc. So he's going to be your hit and miss kind of driver. Else could be Scrippy. He's going to be one to watch out for. Back at Italy, he finished 3rd. He's had a 5th, 2nd, and a 3rd. But we don't know what his results at Singapore and Russia were like. I think the championship might also be on the line here for Kaboom. I don't quite know what the championship gap is. It was 50 back at Italy, and after Japan, there's only going to be 4 more races remaining. So he needs to be able to pull out a 100 point lead, or actually 105 point lead. So that even if Dave Gaming won every race with fastest lap and Kaboom no points, still win by 1 point in the championship. But currently, Padloff making his way through on the first hot lap of the night. He approaches Spoon just after 50-meter border, breaks it down into 5th gear, now down into 4th. Very easy to understeer, as we actually see Padloff doing on the exit of Spoon, and that's going to compromise him all the way down now as you get ready for 130R. Pretty much easy flat, and there you go, not even a hint of a lift. Quicker than Blanchimont, easier to do than that infamous left-hander at Spa. The final chicane, the Casio triangle, up the gears over that really annoying bump on the exit, and it's going to be a 128.2. Actually 128.4 coming in from Kaboom, so that's actually a very, very quick lap here from Padloff. And I'm actually just trying to remember what times I saw last night. I'm pretty sure they were talking about 28, but I may have been wrong, as I tried to alt-tab and I realized that breaks my entire screen. Kaboom, though, he's not on a quicker lap. He's 9/10 down. Let's see if we can sit with Miljevic. He's making his way through the Dunlop curve right now, and he'll be approaching the end of Sector 1. We have a bit of a screen freeze, but he's got Borb ahead, might be able to get a little bit of a tow, but Borb gets well out of the way. Into Spoon Miljevic, shooting up into 2nd gear, stretches out 2nd a bit into 3rd, and then just maximizes those ratios. Now into Spoon corner just after the 50-meter board, down to 5th, and we'll drop it down into 4th gear. I have seen some drivers just knock it down into 3rd temporarily, but Miljevic decides that he wants to keep that higher gear, minimize the wheel spin. Now 112.6 through that middle sector. Also keep an eye on Scrippy, 28.7 on those mediums. Now into the Casio triangle comes Miljevic. Looks like this will be a competitive time, but he has a moment over that bump. What's it going to be is a 29.2, and it's only enough for 8th place. Gekaz is heading into the pit. Mulchian's on a hot lap, so is Enigma. Enigma closer to completing his lap, so let's see how he rounds one off. Through 130R flat out, uses a curb and right off to the 100-meter board, drop it all the way down into 2nd gear. Now a short shift up into 3rd, over the bump, but actually Enigma is going to dive into the pits. Let's see what Mulchian can pull out. I think Enigma might have invalidated his lap time. No such a case for Mulchian. Across the line is a 29.3. It's only going to be enough for 9th alongside his McLaren teammate of Flex's Marcy. Oh, Miljevic having a bit of a slide. Let's see what the sector time is like. I think it's 1:16 was the... Okay, no, it must have been 1:12. Philippe's in the pits, and, well, we can come ball with Scrippy. He's decided to put on a set of the soft tires. Remember, that 28.7 was on the medium, so he's setting a good bank of time, and we know how much quicker the alternate strategy is, but maybe he just doesn't feel that he has enough really to get a good lap through on those mediums. Scrippy really throws it into the Degners. He's only on an out lap as well here. Only 10 minutes remaining of the session. Scrippy makes his way into the end of sector 2. Ready to start a new hot lap. I'm pretty sure that's Padloff right behind him. Yes, it is. So Padloff might try to pick up a little bit of a tow from Scrippy. Wouldn't be a bad shout. He is very, very fast. Not quite Kaboom levels, but, you know, he's right up there. And, well, Kaboom currently sitting in second place as Padloff, looking very, very fast in that racing point. We go then to start a hot lap on board with the Haas of Scrippy, number 21. Getting ready to enter turn 1. No brakes. Brake really late. Trail braking all the way into 2. And now back on the power. With the back end of 5th gear into the center S's. Does he drop it down into 4th? Nope. But for the right-hander, he will hold it nice and tight. And now into the Dunlop curve. Use as much of the track as possible. And now get ready for the 2 Degners. He'll be flat out into Degner 1. Oh no, he drops it down into 6th. And then down into 2nd gear, actually temporarily, before a quick short shift up into 3rd. Now the run up into the very tight hairpin, down into 1st gear, short shift up into 2nd, and now stretch out those revs. Make your way through the long sweeping right-hander before you approach Spoon. Let's take a look at what his delta time is like in sector 2. Down into 5th gear for the first part of Spoon, and now knock it down into a 4th gear for the second part. Misses the apex. That'll cost him a little bit of time, but not too much. Now at the end of sector 2, let's see what that delta is looking like. 7/10 up for Scrippy. That's going to put him right on the cusp of a 27.9 into the Casio triangle. He surely will be able to find that extra 10th here over the very irritating bump. That needs a name, and across the line is a 1:27.8. But what is Padloff doing? He's coming across the line. Actually, he's saved up his ERS, so he's going for another hot lap right now. So let's stay on board with Kaboom, who comes across the line. It's a 27.9, 800th down on Scrippy. MDCO flat out through Degner 1, but I think he had that lap time invalidated. What about Borb coming across that delta? No, he's on a slower lap. What about Dave Gaming? 2/10 down in sector 1. And he's just up through sector 2. He's on the cusp of jumping ahead of Pierre Cars in the place, as he has a massive oversteer through the Casio triangle. And he's going to dive into the pits. So let's go on board with Padloff. He's on his hot lap. And now as he makes his way into the hairpin of turn 11. Into the Spoon we go. 5th gear, and now drop it into 4th. Padloff doesn't run wide. He gets a very nice run through Spoon indeed. Let's see what this is looking like. He needs to find about 2 to 3 tenths here. He's found a 4. He's right on the cusp of jumping ahead of Scrippy. He just needs to hook together the Casio triangle. Into the right-hander he goes. 3rd gear, doesn't drop it down into 2nd. Now up through the gears, over the bump. Doesn't unsettle the car at all, and across the line is a 27.845, and that's 200ths down on the Haas of Scrippy. Lievich on a hot lap as well. He's 3/10 up through sector 1, so he might be able to have a go all the way up to 5th place. From 5th to about 10th, 5th to 11th. Closely matched, half a second separating them, and then that battle for first to 3rd, very close as well. Philippe kind of in no man's land at the moment. Let's see whether he can find a couple of tenths, or whether Milievich here can bridge that gap. Into the Casio triangle he goes. 4th gear into the right-hander, 3rd gear into the left-hander, over the bump. Slight unsettling of the car, and across the line is a 28.5 for Milievich, which is enough for 5th place. Here comes MDCO. He's half a tenth up through sector 1. Through sector 2, he is 1/10 up, so he needs to find another 10th to jump ahead of Milievich into the Casio triangle. Flexes Marcy, gets well out of the way as MDCO uses as much tarmac as he possibly can. He'll come across the line. What's it going to be? 28.3. MDCO up into 4th place. Mulchin here Is he on a hot lap or has he backed off through Sector 1? Yes, he is backing out of this. Miljevic, though, feels like he's still pushing for a lap, weirdly enough. What about Philippe? No, he's on a cool-down lap. Okay, Miljevic, 7/10 down through Sector 1. He's just trying to get back to the pits nice and quickly, so he has enough time to put on a fresh set of boots and make it out before that checkered flag does come out. On an outlap, Kaboom. This is one driver that we have to keep an eye out for. Also keep an eye out on Dave Gaming and Enigma, as Dave Gaming, you know, and Enigma, they're second and third in the championship, so we should be expecting something from them, but they do seem to be the kind of drivers that perform well in the race. You know, Dave Gaming, he's been consistently finishing third, between third and sixth every single race, and Enigma a little bit behind that, so his race pace does feel good, and I'm sure he will show us why he is second in the championship come race day. Kaboom, though, will start his hot lap. We've done a lap with Padlock, we've done a lap with Scrippy, and now we're going to sit on board with championship. Our leader, Kaboom, makes his way into turn 1, down into 4th gear, use all of that curb on the exit. 6th gear, down into 5th for the right-hander, and into the 2nd, left-right, 5th gear again. Will he drop it down into 4th? No, he keeps it in the 5th to minimize wheel spin, and now through the Dunlop curve, use all of the track on the exit. And now get ready for Degner. Let's see how quickly he takes his quick shift down into 6th, and now down into a 3rd gear for Degner 2. Up through the gears now as you get ready for the hairpin of turn 11. Hold it all the way over to the right. Now down into 1st gear. Short shift up into 2nd. You can just see him just correcting a little bit of oversteer preemptively on the exit. Now to the long right-hander of turn 12. And get ready for Spoon. In real life, this will put so much strain on the drivers. So much G through there. Down into 4th gear. And on the exit, it's all looking very clean so far from Kaboom. But all we care about is that delta time across the Sector 2 checkpoint. It's 0.05 up. That's right on the cusp of a Padlock in 2nd place. Kaboom into the Casio triangle. 3rd gear, up through the gears, over the bump. What's it going to be? He's going to come across the line. Is it going to be a 27.826? And that is identical to Scrippy. Close as you like at the front. Wow. 200 separating the top 3. Nothing separating the top 2. And they're a 3-man island. And then you've got almost a 3-way battle between Filip Miljevic and Enigma, who has just put in his lap of a 28.6. And then you have the 5-way battle for 8th place. Molchian heading Borb, Flexes Marcy, Pierre Cars, and Dave Gaming, pardon me. Who is on the lap already? Pierre Cars. He's just started this, and then I think we'll try to sit on board with Padlock and then go on board to Scrippy. Padlock is ahead of Scrippy on circuit, I do believe. But let's see if Pierre Cars can add anything to the miss. He did join the season late back in Spain, and he's been finishing towards the back end of the top 10. So a midfield runner here. He's 2/10 up in Sector 1, and this is already putting him on the cusp of jumping ahead of Enigma in the Ferrari as he makes his way into the hairpin. Speaking of Enigma, he retires, but Pierre Cars right on the apex, up into 3rd gear. Now through the long sweeping right-hander of turn 12. And brace yourself for Spoon. Get ready for that understeer deer hit. Down into 5th gear, feathering the throttle through, down into 4th, through the 2nd part of Spoon. Now up through the gears. Could have used a bit more exit. Looks a little bit scrappy from Pierre Cars here, but what is that delta time going to be? 3/10 up. So he's on the cusp of getting a 28.5. So he's right there with Miljevic as he makes his way into the Casio triangle. Just needs to hook this up and navigate over the tricky bump. Here we go. Pierre Cars across the line. It's going to be a 28.4, and that is 6th place for the Red Bull driver. However, Scrippy is on the hot lap. I saw 9/10 up, but that's his previous lap. through Degner 1, do quick shift down into 6th, and now down into 3rd. Has to go into 2nd because he runs wide on the exit, and that's going to cost him a few tenths at least. Now down into the hairpin, the checkered flag is out. Kaboom is in the pits. He's not going to be able to improve. That is for sure. Now Scrippy getting ready for that long left-hander of Spoon. Let's see how clean it is. Right after the 50-meter board, drop it down into 5th gear. Now down into 4th, back on the power, and that's how you take a line through Spoon corner. Scrippy, let's see what he can do across the sector 2 mark. He's 700ths down on his best, but that's easily recoverable into the Casio triangle. Breaks nice and late. Take as much curve as physically possible. And now up through the gears. He goes a little bit wide on the exit, and across the line is a 28.1. But Padloff, he's done a 27.4. Where on earth did that come from? 4 tenths up. That is an absolutely insane time from Padloff. Who else is on a hot lap? Philippe. He's 1/10 up, so he's going to jump ahead of MDCO. Lexus Marcia has gone 4th, but Philippe locks up, and that's going to be his lap over and done with. He could have. I think he would have had 5th in the back. He could have possibly have gone for 4th place as well, but it's all about Padloff after an absolutely insane qualifying. 4 tenths up on Kaboom and Scrippy, who are tied in that 2nd place spot. Weirdly though, Scrippy's got to be the one starting in 3rd, even though he set his lap time earlier on in the session, and I always thought it was the other way around. There we go, everyone has finished their lap. And we can get ready for the race. Don't forget to let us know who you are rooting for. Right, and confirmation of your final qualifying results. Padloff ahead of Kaboom, Scrippy in 3rd, Flexmarcy 4th, MDCO 5th, Philippe in 6th, Yekas and Miljevic rounding out the 4th row. Dave Gaming and Enigma complete the top 10, with Mulchin and Borb rounding out the field. Right. So, time to go racing then. Everyone is on the grid and we should be underway with the formation lap just momentarily. Hopefully no glitches, as Cody's have been having some lately. But with only 12 drivers on the grid, hopefully there shouldn't be any significant issue. Right, just Mulchin and Kaboom to line up. And, you know, we said Kaboom was going to be at the sharp end. Well, it's with Padloff who starts on pole position after that fantastic qualifying lap. Don't count out Scrippy. His lap time in quali was identical to Kaboom's, the 1,000th of a second. So that was going to be a big battle for 2nd place. But the question is, can Padloff run away with this race? We know how easy it is to see DRS trains forming here and how difficult it is to overtake. So Padloff needs to break that 1 second zone as quickly as possible. So everyone is starting on the soft tires in the top 10 and everyone outside of the top 10 on the medium. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out for. Lexus Marcy, though, another driver to keep an eye on. He either has a great race or he throws it somewhere. There's just kind of inconsistency at times. We have to watch out. Maybe there might be some incidents as well here at Suzuka. We've seen drivers trying to overtake as well into the center S's, and that could cause absolute mayhem. It looks like the forecast for the race is dry, but I'm not 100% sure of that, as it's looking cloudy out there. Maybe there is some rain in store for us later on. Drivers make their way into the final corner to line up on the grid for round 17 of the AOR season. Split 5, don't forget, so, you know, there are spots in split 4, or I believe it's split 3, that are on offer to the drivers that perform very well in this season. Right, but it looks like we are ready to go racing then. Padloff lines up on pole position with the Renault alongside. We await the 5 red lights as the revs rise, and it's lights out and away we go. It's actually a very good start there from Kaboom, and he's going to get past the Force India, or the Racing Point I should say, into turn 1. Padloff tries to hold it around the outside, but that's Kaboom up into first place. Grippy will hold on to third with Flex's Marcy in 4th, MDCEO in 5th. But let's just keep an eye on this, as there may be some incidents in the battle for these lower places in the top 10. Yeah, car's running a bit wide, and Milievich might be able to have a go. And now Dave Gaming, he's dropped through the order. Now Milievich, he's going to go side by side as we make the approach into Degner 1. Round the outside goes the Alfa Romeo, and that's Milievich up into 7th place. No dive bombs into the hairpin, and in fact, Enigma getting very close to the back of Dave Gaming. Don't forget that there's a battle for second place in the championship at stakes between these two. Corbett Mulchian falling back order. Milievich getting pretty close to the back of the Toro Rosso of Philippe. Keep an eye on those delta times as well for when a move may be happening, as there we go, we can see them side by side, and that's another position in the bag for Milievich, up into 6th place, and that's 2 spots up on his starting position of 8th. Philippe, that's Philippe into the pit, so he must have some form of front wing damage. Maybe he can make the mediums go until the end. Maybe he could even put on a set of hard tires. However, it looks like we have a battle for third starting to emerge. Scrippy and Flex's Marcy. Less than half a second separating the two of them. We make our way onto lap 2 of 27. And indeed, it was a set of medium tires that Philippe did put on. Ooh, was that back end getting very sketchy there from Scrippy through Degner 1. Putting everything on the line, as there's a red cross on Scrippy's name, which does not look promising. That tends to mean that someone's disconnecting. You can see the red bars showing the fact that he has a bad internet connection. Hopefully that will not get in the way of what is shaping up to be a fantastic Japanese Grand Prix. Scrippy keeping in touch with Kaboom and Padloff, and when that DRS does get enabled, I'm sure Padloff will be having a go on Kaboom into turn 1 or into 130R. Actually, we're seeing Padloff getting very close to Kaboom. Could have a look into the Casio Triangle. No, he's too far back. He'll slot in behind as make our way onto lap 3 of 27. Still Kaboom leading from Padloff, then Scrippy and Flex's Marcy, with MDCEO tagging along in 5th place. There is the notification from race control. DRS has been enabled as Padloff running a little bit wider through turn 2. Takes a bit of grass, and that will cost him a couple of tenths. Let's take a look down the order because Pierre Cars is close to the back of Miljevic. Remember, Miljevic overtook Pierre Cars on the opening lap, and Pierre Cars are looking to return the favor here. Miljevic has a massive moment with the back end through Degner 1. Somehow he keeps it going, and somehow he doesn't lose too much time, as I do believe Pierre Cars backed out of that. Just to be careful. Dave Gaming is on the back of Pierre Cars as well, and Enigma right there with him. Don't forget, those two are second and third in the championship respectively. So there's a lot on the line between guys. Padloff is close to Kaboom as we make our way into the Casio Triangle for the third time tonight. DRS enabled, so Padloff needs to get a good run, and, well, Kaboom gets a good run, and Padloff will be too far behind to do anything into turn 1. That's not the same, though, for Pierre Cars, who's right on the back of the Alfa Romeo, and he looks towards the inside, heading into turn 1. Dave Gaming right on his tail, and that's a bit of a moment for the Alfa. Now Dave Gaming right there as well, but that is Pierre Cars up into 6th place. Question is, can Pierre Cars pull away? He's got MDCO and Flexus Marcy battling for 4th place up ahead, as Miljevic has a massive moment through Dunlop, and Dave Gaming now on the inside into Degner 1, and that's Dave Gaming up into 7th place. Miljevic really struggling on these soft tires. Look how far Pierre Cars has pulled off already. He's already within a 1 second zone of MD CEO. And he's going to be in this battle for 4th place. And it's looking like a question of when, not if. Meanwhile, up ahead though, Padloff close to Kaboom. And this time he gets a better run than last. But I think he's still a bit too far back as MD CEO picks up a 3-second time penalty. Not going to be able to have a go into T1 as Scrippy's actually falling back from them. Take a look down the field. Nothing actually going to happen into turn 1. Philippe all the way down in 12th place after losing part of his front wing and being forced to pit at the end of lap 1. It's on board with Pierre Cars though, because you have to feel that if something does happen, it's going to be involving this man in the Red Bull. Really abuses the track limits into Degner 1. 1.2 seconds down on MDCO, and Dave Gaming is tagging along with Pierre Cars, who's trying to join onto this battle for the place. Miljevic not terribly far back, but we saw him drop those 2 positions at last lap. And don't count Borb and Molchian out of, this race in terms of picking up points, because they are on those medium tires right now. So when they do go onto the softs, that is going to be a massive, massive advantage for them. And maybe they could be battling for, this kind of 6th, 7th place spot later on in the race. However, let's stick on board with MDCO and Flexus Marcy, as they are very close as they make their way into the Casio Triangle. What's the exit looking like from CEO as Kabooms does set a new fast lap of the race? CEO has DRS, but I just feel that he is too far back to be able to do anything as Philippe retires from the session. Meanwhile, behind Dave Gaming, not going to be able to do anything as side by side between the Renault and a Ferrari of Borb and Molchian. I just felt something fall on my foot, but that was very strange because nothing can fall on my foot because I'm in my room. Regardless though, Enigma holds on to 9th place for now, but those medium tires starting to come online, more specifically the soft tires starting to fall off as Pierre Cars picks up a time penalty. And Pierre doesn't seem to be able to get in that 1 second DRS zone of MD CEO. If he can, then he should be able to almost like magnetically attract himself to the back of those two in the battle for 4th place. But a little bit too far behind right now. Forget about Miljevic. He's after having a few moments on lap 4. He seems to have refound his pace, seems to have found a rhythm, and it's now tagging along with Dave Gaming. Really cuts through the Casio triangle. Make our way onto lap 7 of 27. MDCO just too far back on Flex's Marcy to be able to have a go into turn 1. Dave Gaming really closing onto the back of Pierre here. Not too much has happened in these first 7 laps. Philippe is our only retiree of the race. He pitted on lap 1 after getting front wing damage, and after that he was just languishing at the back of the grid, and he has very recently retired from the race. Dave Gaming closing on to Pierre once again, as you can see how close MDCO is. Texas Marcy, and it almost feels like MDCO just has better downforce, and maybe that's why he's really struggling to catch up to Marcy on the straights. But he's right on the tail through 130. Maybe he can have a go into the Casio triangle. He's gonna have a little look and dives it down the inner side. He forces the Marcy to cut through, and that's going to be MDCO back in 5th, but he has DRS, and actually that's the best way possible for CO to pick up the position down the start-finish straight, and now we can really start to pull away. Pierre Carso having a look down the inside of the Williams, and that's going to be Pierre Cars. Will he lose a position? Dave Gaming, I think he's going to hold on to this one, and indeed he will, as the Williams goes up into 6th place. But Pierre Cars is right there, and Miljevic not too far behind, as well as this train starting to really form now. Enigma just over 1 second back, as that's a yellow flag, as that is a McLaren spinning of Flexis Marcy, and he's caught Dave Gaming with him. Marcy and Dave Gaming spinning through the Dunlop curb. Not quite sure what happened, but I'm pretty sure it was between Marcy and Dave, as there wasn't anyone between the two of them. So actually Pierre Cars is dropping another position, as Borb's going to get past on those medium set of tires, as everything's kind of just gone down the drain due to that incident. Meanwhile, actually, Padloff, he is pretty close to Kaboom as we make our way onto lap 8, and that's going to be Kaboom diving into the pit. Scrippy will stay out, as will Padloff. No new fastest lap, but let's take a look down the order. Enigma now up into 6th place, and right on the tail of Miljevic. Pierre Cars will dive into the pits, but Bob on the back of Enigma, but won't be able to find a way through, as Enigma has a DRS himself, but he is getting very close into turn 1. But it'll be forced to slot in behind for now. Flexis Marcy gets back ahead of Dave Gaming, who had front wing damage. A set of mediums going onto his car. MDCO 8 seconds down on the battle for first place for Borb, right here on the tail of Enigma, and wouldn't be surprised if we see the top 4 now diving into the pits at the end of this lap. And the medium tire runners would probably pit around about lap 15, lap 16, and take the soft tires for 10, 11 laps. the end of the races. There's the yellow flag in sector 1. No idea what that's for. As Bob close to the back of Enigma. No DRS down the back straight, but very, very close indeed. Through 130R and into the Casio triangle. Enigma should peel into the pits. Padloff actually dives into the pits as Scrippy stays out. Will Enigma follow in? Yes, indeed he will. And Bull will pick up a DRS without anyone in front to hold him up. Now the question is, where does Padloff come out relative to Kaboom? There's Kaboom on the start-finish straight, and that's going to be Padloff picking up the lead. And I actually can't remember who had the lead before the pit stops came through. I do apologize for that. But Padloff now takes the effective lead of the race. Unless Scrippy can do a massive, massive overcut, most likely he will be pulling into the pits at the end of this lap. Enigma, he's just pitted himself with coming out just ahead of Pierre Cars. When we got involved in that big incident heading into the Dunlop curve that all started from Flex and Mastery and Dave Gaming Weaver. But Scrippy making his way into the Casio triangle. He should be peeling into the pits at the end of this lap, and indeed he will. Now the question is all about where does he feed out relative to Padloff and Kaboom. Borb Emulsion will assume the lead of the race, but they still have one stop to make. That medium tires goes on to the Haas. But here comes Padloff. We can see Scrippy in the pits, and Padloff should come out well ahead. And you could see not Dave Gaming, Kaboom going past. Scrippy will feed out into 5th place. And the effective 3rd position of the race. 2 seconds down on Kaboom, as Padloff has stretched out over a 1 second gap to Kaboom. So that's going to be no DRS available for any of these three. Speaking of DRS and battles, Pierre Cars closing into the back of Enigma. His tires are 1 lap older, but that doesn't really seem to be affecting him as Padloff picks up a 3-second time penalty. Scrippy and Kaboom do not have a penalty themselves. Dave Gaming flexes Marcy 12 seconds down on this battle for 8th place after being the 2 involved in that incident through the Dunlop curve. Milievich is quite close to MDCO, so we might have to take a look at that battle at some point. But here we go, Pierre Car's right on the back of Enigma as we make our way onto the back straight. Kaboom's back within a second of Padloff, but I don't think anything's going to be happening over there. The Red Bull tucks right into the back of the Ferrari, into 130R we go. We take a look into the Casio triangle. Well, Enigma will go defensive, but that should allow Pierre Cars to get the switch back onto the start-finish straight. He'll have a DRS, but does he have the earth? Does he have the fuel? It looks like he does. Enigma will go defensive. Pierre Cars will dive to the outside. He'll try to hold it around the outside through turns 1 and 2, but Enigma will hold on to 8th place for now. Oh, as that's someone off, that's Milievich. And he just dives back on the track in front of Pierre Cars, and that will cost Pierre Cars just a little bit of time. Bit of an unsafe rejoin there from Milievich. Enigma picks up a 3-second time penalty as we see Pierre Cars really cutting through Degner 1. Into the hairpin we go, and Enigma being hunted down by Pierre Cars, but up ahead, Padloff right on the back of the McLaren of Emulsion. Remember, Borb Emulsion still have a pit stop to do as Padloff takes a second place. So we are expecting Borb and Mulchian to be pitting at about a lap 15, a lap 16. So they just have to do a few more laps on this set of tires. And in fact, because Mulchian has DRS, it means that Kaboom is going to catch up to the back of Mulchian in the center S's, which might be enough to give Padloff that chance to break out of the 1 second zone. And we're seeing that happening right here now as Padloff pulling away through the center S's and Kaboom closing in onto Mulchian. And unless he can have a shot into Degner's 1 and 2, he's going to lose a considerable amount of time here. Gonna have to wait for the back straight to be able to have a go. Thankfully, Mulchian not losing too much time to Padloff. They all run a little bit wide into the hairpin of turn 11. Padloff has already pulled almost a second gap to Mulchian. I don't think Mulchian's going to be getting any slipstream, but Kaboom, he's on the back of Mulchian, not as close as Piercar's was last time around, but he should be close enough to make a move work. And he will go down the inside into 130R and will pick up the position. Mulchian won't try anything silly and will the position as Mulchian picks up a 5-second time penalty. And Kaboom is now outside of that 1 second gap as Dave Gaming also picks up a time penalty. The car's still a bit too far back to be able to find any onto Enigma now. I'm not sure exactly what the length of the pit stop is here. I'd assume it's about 20 seconds or so. Maybe a little bit less, maybe about 18 as Scrippy. What has happened to Scrippy? We're riding on board with MDCO. Hopefully we can see, and that's Scrippy. He's lost the back end through Dunlop. And he's into the wall, and that is, I believe, his first DNF since joining Apex Online Racing. And that's going to be effectively handing third place over to MDCO or Borb, depending on how the alternative strategy pans out for Borb and for Mulchian. Also want to mention there could have been contact between him and Mulchian because he was getting close to Mulchian. I think he was within that 1 second gap. So maybe if it wasn't contact, it might have been just the dirty air of Mulchian affecting him and just catching him out. Take a look at the battle for 6th place. Enigma with Piercars and Miljevic right on his tail as they enter the Casio Triangle for the 5th time tonight. Because doesn't get the best of runs, so Enigma should be able to hold on to 6th place for now. And if you do want to have a go at someone into turn 1, it all starts with that run through Spoon, getting close, heading into the Casio Triangle, and then perfecting that run through the Casio Triangle, so you're right on their tail to open up that DRS on the main straight. We only have 10 runners remaining, which means Flex's Marcy will be picking up that final point as things stand. But also probably important to mention as well, Kaboom is back within a second of Padloff. So this battle for first place is not done yet by any means. Also, we're on lap 15, and this is the point where we might start to expect the medium tire runners to pit, or more specifically, this is where the pit window opens up. Saw people doing 9 laps on the soft tires, and that was the tires that they had done their qualifying on, so you know they can definitely do 11 laps and keep those softs in good conditions, especially with the lower fuel lower fuel weight, as well as Pierre Cars looks for the outside as Enigma goes defensive. He tries to hold it around the outside of the first part of the chicane, and he will get the job done. Pierre Cars up into 6th place, and he'll have DRS as well, which should keep him ahead going into turn 1. But Enigma slots him behind. Can he potentially have a look? No, he cannot. Pierre Cars up into 6th place, although Enigma getting very close through turns 1 and 2. The question is, can Pierre Cars pull the pin and pull away and maybe hunt down MDCO in 5th place? Going back to what we were talking about, though, the length of a pit stop. If it's about 18 seconds, what that means is that when we see Bob pitting, he's going to be coming out, you know, around Enigma and Pierre Cars in 6th place. So bear in mind that Bob, after he pits, he's probably going to come out in 5th, actually, between MDCO and Pierre Cars. So he's definitely going to be able to pick up the position on MDCO. So I reckon Bob will be picking up the 3rd place finish here. I think I'm blind because I'm looking at the championship standings and trying to see how many points Bob has picked up, because he definitely raced in Italy. I remember that, but for some reason I can't see his name unless it did change at some point. He's in the Renault, and there don't appear to be any Renaults on the championship standings, with the exception of some guy called Marb. As Enigma, though, getting hunted down by Miljevic. Pardon me, I missed that, but Miljevic right on the tail of Enigma, going to tuck right in behind. But Enigma himself has DRS. Miljevic keeps trying to get some more DRS, as that is a Bob out of the pits, as Miljevic going sideways through turn 1. He saves there, an absolutely fantastic drift, really, but always difficult to try to overtake someone through on the outside of turn 1, and Miljevic pays the price for it. But Bob, fantastic, pitting at the last possible second and ensuring he came out ahead of Pierre Cars. And we said he was going to come out at some point between these two. Miljevic retires, he's done. His tires must be overheated, and he's just had enough. And now there were 9. Started off with 12, but Bob on those soft tires, 10 laps remaining. And he's going to be hunting down MDCO. Then there's another 9 seconds to Kaboom. And you have to think that he's going to be gaining over a second a lap. So by lap 20, he's going to be right on the back of MDCO. I don't know if he can hunt down Padlov and Kaboom. It depends if they battle a lot. Also, Molchan, he's 6 seconds down on Padlov. So when he pits, he's going to be coming out in front of Dave Gaming, but behind Enigma. And we could expect Molchan to pit now. Yep, he is indeed in the pit, as Pierre Cars will get DRS from Bob just to drag him forward a little bit. But let's take a look at Molchan. Oh, he has a 5-second time penalty as well. So he's going to be coming out right alongside Dave Gaming, who's making his way through the final corner, as Flex's Marcy picks up a time penalty. It's going to be close between these two, and this is really important for Molchan to come out ahead, but he's not going to be able to do so. And that 5-second time penalty is going to be critical, because now he's got 2 more drivers to get in front of. If he came out in front of Dave Gaming, he could have hunted down Enigma, but as things stand, he probably won't, and he's going to have to settle for 7th place. Marb does equal Bob. Okay, because I remember from Italy, he was doing very well, and then he spun to Parabolica as Flex's Marcy has a moment, and that's going to put Molchan right onto the back of him as they enter Degner 1. Into Degner 2, down into 3rd gear. Molchan on the fresher tyres and on the soft tyres could be able to make quick work, but up ahead, Kaboom and Padlov. Very close, 2 tenths separating the pair of them. Kaboom could have a look into the Casio triangle, but will decide against it. Will tuck right in behind the Racing Point driver. They'll snap open that DRS, and he'll have a look into turn 1. He's closing in big time. Padlov will go defensive. Kaboom looking for the outside. It ended in tears for Miljevic. How will it end for Kaboom? He decides to back out of it in the end, and Padlov will hold on to 1st place for now. Bob sets a new fast lap of the race. Now he's 2.7 seconds down. He was 4 point something before, so he's already gained seconds in the space of less than 2 laps. So he's very quick, and that third place has to be in the bag for him. Theo just way too far behind Kaboom, so Bob's not going to be able to close the down. Also, massive shame for Scrippy. You know, he was running in third place, or what was effectively third place, only, you know, 1 or 2 seconds behind these two. So big shame for him, but I guess that's the way it goes as Pierre Cars picks up a time penalty. That could be big for Mulchin. As actually, speaking of Mulchin, he's right here on the back of Flex and Marcy. Flex and Marcy out of that 1 second zone of Dave Gaming, so he won't be getting DRS. So Mulchin should be able to pick up the position on his teammate later this lap. And actually, Flex and Marcy, he backs out of it. Could have just let Mulchin go down the inside into the hairpin. That felt a bit of an odd place to let someone through, but all's well that ends well, I guess. Kaboom on the back of Padloff once again onto the start finish straight. Too far back to make anything work into turn 1. Gonna have to hold position for now. 49% ERS for him, 25% for Padloff. So maybe if he just saves up some ERS, he can just unleash it all, starting off from Spoon, and just really try to close into the back of the racing point by the time he makes his way into the Casio triangle. What about Flex and Marcy? Wait, oh yes, Flex and Marcy let Mulchin through. Now Mulchin can begin the hunt for Dave Gaming. Also, clever idea from Flex and Marcy, letting Mulchin through, although running wide into turns 1 and 2 is not. And Flex and Marcy with DRS open misjudges his braking point. As a result, that is going to mean that he doesn't have the DRS. I was going to say that it was a clever idea to let Mulchin through so that he could try to tag along with DRS just that little bit. But with that mistake, that's going to be Flex and Marcy's charge for 8th place over and done. Now, Kaboom is close to Padloff, but more importantly, Borb is close to the back of MDEO. Might be able to have a go as actually Kaboom, how close is he? A little bit too far back for anything into the Casio triangle. Question is, can he get a better run out of the chicane? No, not quite. Now, Borb on the tail of MDCO, he's within half a second, and you have to feel that he's going to be picking up the position heading into turn 1 this time around. Even if MDCO could defend, he's not going to be able to defend for 7 laps. Okay, Borb a little bit too far back this time round, but he has a fresher soft tire, so he might even be able to do something heading into Center S's as MDCO takes a chunk of grass with him. And Borb, he might have a look here, you know, right on the tail of CEO through the Center S's. Gonna be patient for now. He's not gonna risk anything, not make any silly decisions. He knows that Kaboom is too far ahead to be able to have a shot at second. All he has to do is play it sensible and pick up the podium. Now there's a yellow flag in sector 1, and that's Pierre Cars. He's lost the back end, and Dave Gaming is closing up. This could mean Mulchin will pick up a 6th place, and all of a sudden we now have a 3-way battle for 6th. Pierre Cars, his tires are going to be overheated after that incident, which means Mulchin is going to be able to close right in on those fresher soft tires. Bob right on the tail of MDCO. Can he get the run through Spoon? Oh, yes, he can. Right on the back of the Williams. That wait, there is no DRS on the back straight. As here they come. MDCO will not go defensive. He doesn't need to. Through 130 they go. And Bobby could have a look into the Casio triangle, but he will decide against it. He's right on their tail as they enter the start-finish straight. Much closer than last time round. And he should be able to pick this one up. Up ahead, Kaboom 2/10 down on Paddock, but unable to find a way through yet again as Borb moves up into 3rd place in the Renault. And this is going to be a 2-3 for Renault, and it will cement their position as the Constructors' title leaders. I believe Williams were tied with them at one point, but they've fallen down after a string of good results from Kaboom and Borb here. The question is, can Kaboom find anything onto Padloff? I don't know if this is Padloff's debut race or whether he raced at Russia and Singapore, but if it is his debut race, it has been a fantastic performance so far, and he's going to be one to watch out for the rest of the season and for next year as well, depending if he gets bumped up into Split 3 or not. You'd have to think, though, the likes of Padloff and Kaboom, and maybe Scrippy as well, will be getting knocked up. The only issue probably with Scrippy is that consistency. You can't be making these little mistakes, however unlucky they are, or however uncommon. It all counts, as Padloff once again goes defensive, and I think he's going to do it. Nope, once again, Padloff holds it, but Kaboom's going to get the better drive through turn 2 as the back end twitches. Padloff is still leads heading into the center S's, a lap 23 of 27 with just 4.5 laps remaining. MDCO still sticking onto the back of board, but Dave Gaming is right in that DRS zone of Pierre Cars. Maybe he could have a look into turn 1. He's a little bit too far back, but Mulchin can see these two battling ahead. He's on those soft tires. He should be able to make this work, especially with Pierre Cars and Dave Gaming battling hard for 6th place. But we're going to keep an eye up ahead. Kaboom and Padloff. This is where Kaboom has to unleash that ERS. ERS is fairly even between the two of them. Hot lap for Kaboom, where it is just going to be, I can't remember what 3 is, high for Padloff. Through 130R they go. Kaboom is very close into the Casio triangle, but he will just sit behind now. Can he get the drive? We've seen Padloff go defensive into turn 1, but does Kaboom have the drive? Does he have the overspeed to have the go? He's going to go for it. Let's sit on board. Into turn 1 he goes, but once again, Padloff, brave as you like, will hold on to first place as Kaboom has a massive moment with the back end. Padloff has been a fantastic defensive drive from him, and Kaboom has just been forced to look for the same move lap after lap. I think that's the 3rd time in a row Kaboom has tried to find something on the outside, and it just hasn't not worked out. Does he try to find something different? Does he keep on going and hope that Padloff makes a mistake? Because so far it's been impeccably done, as down behind Pierre Cars and Dave Gaming, they were battling for position. Pierre Cars holds onto the places. Mulchin closing in as Dave Gaming has a massive moment with the back end, and now Mulchin within striking distance of the Williams, and he might be able to have a go into turn 1 next time around. We'll try to keep an eye on that. But up ahead, Kaboom and Padloff, they're making their way through Spoon, and Kaboom within half a second. He'll most certainly be right on the tail of the racing point, heading into the Casio triangle this time around. A little bit further back than he would have liked, but right there on the entry, and you can just see Padloff getting a nicer line through the exit of the Casio triangle, and Kaboom will not be able to have a go this time around. Keep an eye just in case, and no, Padloff will hold on to the position for now. Don't forget, Borba has a fast lap of the race, having pitted onto those soft tires, but riding on board with Mulchin, we can see Dave Gaming really closing in onto Pierre Cars here. Into the Casio triangle once again we go. Bit of an under rotation on that front right tire. Pierre Cars will get the better run through the chicane, and Mulchin a little bit too far back to be able to have a go, as Flex and Marcy picks up a 5-second time penalty. Pierre Cars goes defensive. Dave Gaming looking for the outside, and Mulchin's going to be joining in this fight. Pierre Cars running a bit wide. Is there contact? They almost touch, but that's Dave Gaming up into 6th place, and that's great because the Mulchin is going to be easier for him to get past Pierre Cars than it would have been to get past Dave Gaming, especially with Dave having that DRS. So Mulchin can try to make quick work of Pierre Cars and then look for Padloff. Not Padloff. Pardon me, and then look for Dave. But Kaboom, once again, on the tail of Padlov. This is a great battle for first place between the two of them. Into the Casio Triangle once again. Kaboom cannot be any closer. Gets an okay run, but Padlov just seems to get better traction out of the corner. And Padlov once again will hold on to the lead as we enter the penultimate lap of the race. 57% ERS for Kaboom and 22 for Padlov. So Kaboom's definitely going to be able to have a shot on the final lap of the race. Question is, can he? I think he has to go for the dive bomb into the Casio Triangle, put off Padlov, so that maybe he could then get the drive coming out. Either that, or if he gets to the last lap and he's still in second, he has to go for the dive bomb. Meanwhile, down behind, Molchian is on the back of Pierre Cars, who has a DRS himself. And it means Molchian will have to hold on to 8th place as Pierre Cars runs wide. Molchian looks for the inside, but Pierre Cars cuts him off. And will hold on to 7th place. And that might be Molchian's shot for 7th. Done and dusted as MDCO picks up a 3-second time penalty. We don't have a tally of all the time penalties currently, as that's Pierre Cars running completely wide. And here comes Flex's Marcy. He's gonna see the dust. He's gonna be excited. And he can see Pierre Cars right in front of him. And he can definitely have a go. Pierre Cars with those very worn tires and now overheated tires as well. Is it going to be a dinner for Flex's Marcy? He could have had a look into the hairpin, but decides against it. Pierre Cars runs very wide. Padlov sets a new fastest lap of the race. He's got this race in the bag now. Flex's Marcy on the grass as the McLaren and the Red Bull side by side through the right-hander of turn 12. And Flex's Marcy is up into 8th place into Spoon. Molchian may be able to jump ahead of Dave Gaming depending on what the penalties are like, but Padlov, he's had a lot of, clearly he's had pace available to him, and he's just used everything on that previous lap to set a new fastest lap of the race. Low fuel mode as low fuel levels, as well as Pierre Cars retires from the race. That's just daft. I mean, you don't know what time penalties could have in store for you. Could have been able to pick up 8th place. There's a yellow flag in sector 3, so maybe he had fun, but I mean, it's just one lap to go. Might as well just complete it. However, Kaboom is close to Padlov, 35% ERS. Padlov has a 25 himself, so maybe there is a possibility heading into the Casio Triangle, but it does look like Padlov has this one done and dusted. He's defended from Kaboom, who has pushed so hard. And into the Casio Triangle for the final time goes Padlov. He couldn't have done anything more. Good qualifying and an impeccable race. Padlov will take the win for round 17. As Kaboom actually picks up the win post-race due to Padlov having 1 3-second time penalty. Bull will come through to pick up a 3rd. An MDCO behind will pick up a 4th position. He's had a lot of time penalties, and in fact Enigma, depending on how many time penalties Enigma has, will be close to jumping ahead. And if Enigma didn't pick up one of those 3-second time penalties, he would have made it work. Now Molchian, can he jump ahead of Dave Gaming? Yes, he can. Dave Gaming had a 3-second time penalty. Molchian up into 6th. Flex's Marcy will come through to take 8th. He has a lot of time penalties, 13 seconds worth, which I believe is a 5 and 3 3s. Quick maths, boys. But there you go. It is, let me count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. His 7th race win of the season, Kaboom. Sorry, 8th race win, because he did win at Singapore. I do remember commentating on that race. I missed out on the Russian Grand Prix. And I think, actually, guys, that might be the championship wrapped up there for Kaboom. Another win, just so consistent. His last 5 races now that he's taken part in. That's his last 6 races that he's taken part in. 5 wins and a 2nd. That is Absolutely crazy, crazy result. So final confirmation then, Kaboom picks up the win ahead of Padloff, who takes the fastest lap. Orbit takes the just 100th off that fast lap as MD picks up 4th ahead of Enigma with Mulchin in 6th. Dave Gaming takes 7th as Flex and Marcy is the final finisher of the Grand Prix. That's all that we have time for though, so thank you very much everyone for joining us. We'll be back next week, same time, 8 p.m. GMT for round 18 at Circuit of Mexico. It should be a cracker, so make sure you tune in for that. And until then, guys, stay fast. We'll see you next time.